Let's now look at the second key competence indicator of the competence element scope, namely, structure the project scope. Structuring the project scope is a fundamental step in project planning. It involves systematically breaking down the entire content of the project into manageable elements, known as a work breakdown structure. The work breakdown structure forms the foundation for effective planning, coordination, cost estimation, and control. It provides a visual and textual overview of the entire project scope. It helps align stakeholder expectations and delivery responsibilities. It simplifies scheduling, budgeting, and resource allocation by making the scope measurable. It connects project scope with organizational systems like accounting, procurement, and reporting. It also facilitates a shared understanding among stakeholders. It links project deliverables to objectives, aiding in change management. The work breakdown structure typically takes the form of a hierarchical tree diagram, although textual or tabular forms are used in practice, especially for complex projects. A work breakdown structure is a deliverable-oriented decomposition of the project scope. It focuses on the what and not the how. Key principles include functional structure, breaking down the project based on components or systems. For instance, foundation, structure, HVAC. Phase-oriented structure breaks it down by project phases. For example, requirements, design, development, testing. Organizational standards. Experienced organizations apply work breakdown structure standards that define structure depth, control accounts, numbering schemes, templates, links to financial or enterprise resource planning systems. Quality principles for a good work breakdown structure include the 100% rule, where the total scope of all subcomponents, children, must equal 100% of the parent deliverable. This prevents scope creep and ensures completeness. Work breakdown structure elements describe deliverables, so they should be written as nouns and adjectives, not verbs. For example, test plan document versus create test plan. Initial breakdown is done top-down with key stakeholders, reviewed bottom-up by delivery teams to validate understanding. Special work breakdown structure components include planning packages. These are temporary placeholders for deliverables not yet broken down. Control accounts. These are oversight levels for progress and invoicing. Work packages are the lowest manageable elements that inform scheduling and cost estimation. Work breakdown structure can be structured based on different guiding principles, based on products or outputs. For example, roof structure, HVAC system. This is best used with construction projects. Aligned with life cycle phases. For example, requirements, design, execution. These are best used for software development, research and development projects based on departments or roles. For example, civil works team, electrical engineering. These are best used for internal improvement projects, organized by geographic area. For example, Site A, Site B, and Site C. These are best used for construction and infrastructure projects. Each principle shapes how the project is visualized, communicated, and controlled. Choose the structuring principle that best aligns with your management, control, and reporting needs. Project boundaries define what is included in scope and what is excluded out of scope. Using a work breakdown structure helps clearly establish and communicate these boundaries, ensuring a shared understanding among stakeholders and preventing scope creep. Key characteristics include defined scope. This clearly outlines what the project will deliver in scope and what it will not deliver out of scope. This prevents scope creep and manages stakeholder expectations. For example, in scope, design, build, and test a new mobile app. Out of scope, marketing the app or providing customer support post-launch. Time constraints specifies the start and end dates of the project. It establishes a time frame within which work must be completed. Budget limitation sets financial boundaries for what can be spent. Ensures the project stays within approved cost limits. For example, approved budget of a particular amount. Any expenditures beyond this amount require change control approval. Geographical or physical limits indicates the physical location or coverage area of the project, especially important in construction or infrastructure projects. For example, construction project limited to Site A. Out of scope will be no work permitted beyond the property lines. Agile and iterative projects evolve over time. Applying a full work breakdown structure upfront can be counterproductive due to overhead costs as a result of constant rework of the work breakdown structure, reducing efficiency. Flexibility needs for user feedback. Agile thrives on responsiveness to change. Emergent deliverables as scope elements may not be known at the start. In Agile, use light work breakdown structure, just enough to guide the product roadmap or initial release plan, keeping adaptability in mind. To apply these actions to your current initiative, follow these steps. Explain why you structure the scope by clarifying the rationale to stakeholders and team members. For example, we are developing a work breakdown structure so that all stakeholders understand the full extent of project deliverables before we proceed with detailed planning and resourcing. Structure the scope using a work breakdown structure by choosing the right structuring approach and involve the right people. Verify that no work breakdown structure element includes activities or verbs. Focus on what will be delivered and not how. Help the team understand what makes a work breakdown structure effective. Show templates or samples from past projects to illustrate effective work breakdown structure usage. Clearly define what is included and excluded to ensure everyone's on the same page. For example, our project includes construction of the building envelope, but tenant fit-outs are out of scope and handled by a separate team. Estimate the level of detail required and use light work breakdown structure for agile projects. Now, let's test your knowledge.